If you have little to no movement in your affected arm, weight bearing is a great way to start activating those muscles and creating neuroplastic changes. So today we're going to go through 2 sets of 5 weight bearing exercises in standing to start initiating arm movement. All that you're going to need is a sturdy surface and someone else with you for safety and supervision just in case. To get started, we're going to go into a warm-up doing a shoulder stretch. All I want you to do is pull your shoulders back, your shoulder blades and scapula back, opening up your chest and then pushing them forward. If you have any activation at all, you can try to push those arms forward, and if you don't worry about it. All right, so let's keep going. Now, I do have one thing I want to say as we continue these warm-up exercises. If you have a lot of hand and wrist swelling, I want you to skip this video. We can do more damage by doing weight bearing on a swollen wrist and a swollen hand as we're moving around some of those carpal muscles, those wrist muscles, as we're weight bearing. So if you have a lot of swelling or even a mild amount of swelling in your wrist or your hand, I want you to skip this one and move on to something different. Always make sure that if you do have swelling, you're talking to your doctor before doing any type of exercise. All right, we're moving into our first weight bearing exercise, which is lean forward. So for this one, you can do this one of 2 ways. You're gonna have sort of a higher surface you're using, could be a kitchen counter, that's always a great place to start. If you're able to get your hands flat, both arms are coming down, and you're just gonna gently lean your body forward. Now, you're not going all the way over. I just want a gentle lean forward. Now, if this is too difficult or you can't get your hands opened up, you can come down onto your forearms. And again, you can see why you might need somebody else with you if you have some balance issues and while you're standing, if getting into these positions is difficult. Having someone there with you to help you get positioned can be really helpful and help to improve your safety as well. All right, let's come back up. In between each of these exercises, we're taking just a short rest break. Because these are involved, they take a little bit to get into and out of position. So I just want to give you a chance to slowly work your way out of the position or into the position. With that said, now we're moving into exercise 2, which is hold up. So for hold up, we're going to take that lean forward to the next step. Again, if you're able to get your hands open, we're going to push them a little bit farther forward, trying to get your elbows straight but not locking them. And I want you to lean really forward so that you're starting to hold up your body, right? Now this is a little bit more challenging. If you find that your elbow is buckling, if you're not able to sustain this, this is when you have somebody with you to help provide that support at the elbow. You may consider getting like an air splint that covers and helps you to keep your elbow nice and straight as you work through these. I'll leave a couple links in the description to some that I like. But we're just getting in that weight bearing, trying to help reconnect those brain pathways. Go ahead and come back up. Good. Like I said, we're just taking some gentle, like 20-second rest breaks in between each of these exercises to safely get out of those positions and then safely go into the next position. So, some of you may wonder if you can do these in sitting. You can, but we're trying to also throw in some leg weight bearing as well with doing these in standing. So, all right, now we are moving on to our next exercise, which is cross arm. Now, these get progressively harder, so make sure that you're taking safety precautions. Cross arm is gonna take your affected or involved side and crossing it over your midline. And then you're going to lean forward into that weight bearing position. If you need to come down onto your forearm, you can do that too. But we like to do things not just on the same side, or what we'd call ipsilaterally, but also when we cross midline. We like to do this too. We're activating different parts of our brain, which is really important. And for each of these, all we're doing is getting into position and just weight bearing, Remember, we're trying to just activate those movements, activate those muscles. Go ahead and come back up for me. Now, you may have also seen some splints online that you can get to help get your hand into a flatter position. You can try some of those out too. I have had variable success depending on, how much movement someone has in their wrist, how flexible those splints are, but I will leave some descriptions if you're interested, or leave some links in the description if you're interested. All right, now we're moving into our fourth exercise, which is functional weight bearing. So for this one, what I'd like to recommend you try is pretend that you're brushing your teeth. Let's say you're standing at the sink. You can actually do this or not. I want you to stabilize with your affected or involved side, either arm straightish or in forearm stabilizing position. I want you to pretend like you're brushing your teeth. Just want you to pretend here, because this is something that you can actually do in real life. You can, at the sink, as you're brushing your teeth, get your affected side involved when you're doing something that you might not otherwise get that arm involved. The more that we can practice those real everyday activities, getting the affected side involved, the more neuroplastic changes we're going to create. Go ahead and take a rest there. Again, we've got about 20 seconds in between each of these exercises. Take a nice big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You're doing a great job. I know that these can be really challenging, but you're hanging with me. You're doing great. Let's get into our last one, which is bringing the arm behind us. Now, this one is quite a bit more challenging than just moving forward. Again, this is where you might need somebody else to help you get into position. Now, for this one, I'm going to show you by turning to the side here, and you'll be able to see in this other angle as well. You're going to try to get your arm extended out. If you're not wearing a splint, you'll want to have someone help you get into this position. And you're going to come and you're going to lean back. You may need to hold on to something on the other side, right? And you're just leaning back into that extended position. Also bear in mind, if you have shoulder subluxation, if you got a significant amount of pain in your shoulder, you want to just be cautious with weight bearing. You always check with your doctor or your therapist before engaging in any of these exercises, just to be safe, making sure that they're appropriate for you. All right, go ahead and come back up out of that. Very nice job. All right, so we've got a little bit of a rest break here, and then we're gonna go through all of those one more time. You're doing great. Something that we can do in the meantime is just do a little bit of leg weight shifting as we're kind of resting here, bringing our weight over onto one leg and then onto the other. All right, but guess what? We're back at our first exercise, which is the lean forward. So again, this is a very gentle way to start into this. Hands are coming out in front of you. All you're doing is gently leaning. You're not going crazy. We just want a gentle weight bearing as you lean forward. Now again, if you need to come down onto your forearms, if getting your hand flat or your elbow is unstable, getting into a safer position that still allows you to weight bear is going to be fantastic. So whichever way works better for you. And as I've said before, you can still do some of these in sitting. If standing creates a safety issue for you, it's just a matter of finding a good surface. Like maybe if you're sitting on something solid and then using a sturdy coffee table, something at like sitting height that you can use to do some weight bearing, you can still engage in these sitting as well. All right, so let's go ahead and come all the way back up. We've got a few more seconds here of a little rest break as we get ready to transition into exercise number 2. You're doing great, we're almost there, so hang with me. At each of these rest breaks, you can even do a little bit of weight shifting back and forth if you are in standing. All right, now we're moving into hold up. So hold up, we are coming forward even a little bit more. And this time, I'm widening my base of support here. I'm not sure if you can see that. And then I am leaning forward, forward, forward so that I am holding up the upper part of my body. Again, with weight bearing, as we're starting with little movement, if you get that elbow wanting to do this, look into those air splints. Look into having somebody with you help you to keep that elbow stabilized as you try out some of these exercises. Safety is always the most important thing anytime that you're going through any of these exercises. So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself as you go through these. Now again, if you need to, you can either come forward a little bit more onto your forearms. This may just be a little bit harder of a position to get back out of. So let's go ahead. We are gonna get out of it. Ooh, that was my elbow, y'all. That was a nice loud pop. All right, I'm just doing some weight shifting in between as we kind of do this rest here. Doing great. All right, we're moving into exercise number 3, which is the crossover. So for this one, you're taking your affected or involved side, moving it across your body, and now we're gently leaning forward as you have that arm crossed in front of you. If you need to bring it out a little bit further, that's okay. Whatever is working better for you. You can also come down onto your forearm if that is a little bit more helpful for you. Or you can stay up in this position if your elbow is stable. Doing great. Weight bearing is a great place to start if you're just looking to really activate some of that movement. It's a great way for your body to start retraining your brain. It's saying, hey, I'm trying to use some of these muscles. Can we get these connections back online, please? So that's why I like to start with weight bearing, among a few other things, with someone who has very little movement. So let's go ahead and come all the way up. Doing great. Let's get into some of that weight shifting as we prepare for the next one. Legs are just shifting back and forth, holding our weight. All right, fantastic. Now we're going into functional weight bearing, and remember, this is something that you can try in your everyday life. So again, we're gonna pretend we're at the sink, we're brushing teeth. I want you to stabilize with your affected or involved arm. You're going to pretend that you're brushing your teeth with your other arm, or perhaps even maybe you're brushing your hair. If you have a comb nearby, practice brushing your hair. The sink maybe even be a little bit higher at your house, depending on what your sink looks like. You can come down into this position here as you're practicing brushing your hair, brushing your teeth. Or if it's easier and you're able to stabilize safely in this position, you're just gonna come here, practice brushing your hair, practice brushing your teeth, maybe even washing your face. But this is a way that we can really activate our brain to recognize these learned patterns of things that we have done before. We brush our teeth every day, or I hope we do anyway. So involving your affected arm can be really, really helpful. Go ahead and come back up. We've got a few more seconds here to just rest and weight shift before we go into our last exercise. All right, we're back at the arm behind. Now again, if any of these are too hard for you, go back to the ones that you can do, because the exercises that you can do are better than the ones you can't. So if this one's too complicated, take it back to one of the others. And if not, arm is coming kind of back behind you. I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see. I'm holding onto the wall for stability, so make sure you have something on the other side of you. Arm is coming back as far as you can, and then you're gonna lean back into that arm and you're just gonna hold there. Now remember what I said in the warm-up. If you do have wrist or hand swelling, you wanna make sure that you're skipping this one, right? We wanna make sure that you are not doing any damage to your wrist bones, right? Or getting them out of place. So safety first. And we're just holding here in this position for a few more seconds. And then guess what? We're gonna be done. You're doing fantastic. Give me 2 more seconds. 2 and 1. Beautiful job. Come back up. You can do a little weight shifting to kind of cool down a little bit. You can take a seat if that's gonna be more helpful for you. Wonderful job. You showed up for yourself again, and you should be incredibly proud of yourself. That is it for today. Feel free to leave me a comment. Have you ever done any weight-bearing exercises before, and have you found them helpful? And as always, I'm going to be leaving a link in the description if you'd like to sign up for the email list, which gets you free stroke recovery tips and motivational emails, as well as a free copy of my ebook, The Stroke Recovery Pocket Guide. And if you find value in what we do here at Post Stroke and you're able, please consider donating, either by giving us a super thanks by clicking in the YouTube bar below, by giving us a one-time donation via PayPal, or by becoming a Patreon member, where in exchange for a monthly donation, you get access to cool perks like social media shoutouts, behind the scenes footage, and even YouTube shoutouts, of which I have 2 today. We have 2 Empower level patrons, members, which I am super grateful for. Thank you so much, Heather G, and thank you so much, Lee S. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate you and your support of Post Stroke. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.